It's Corso and Catone. Brought to you by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Now for the real deal New England feel. Corso and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. I'm Corso. Catone is here, as always. Joe's with us in the booth, and you are watching us on YouTube, listening on iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast. Anyway, podcast, you can catch us, of course, 790 The Score in Rhode Island, and give us a call and heated hotline, 855-313-PATS, P-A-T-S. Message line, leave us a message, 24/7. Anything's on the table, so make sure you have a take. Or, hey, email us in our mailbag, corso.catone@gmail.com. Make sure when you're on, Joe's showing it on the screen now. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, scan the QR code, get all our notifications so you never, ever miss a show. Hey, got a good one today. We got going to hear from one of you in Heated Hotline. And, of course, we're going to go back in the weekly rewind, talk about that overtime loss to the Titans. And, of course, Catone's comments. He had a good one last week for Halloween. Let's see what he has this week. And we're going to go B's and C's, but we're going to replace the B with a PC Providence College Friar Minute with our expert over here, Mr. PC Friar himself. Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Hey. How we doing?
Oh, wonderful. How about you?
600 for a bicycle.
You got to tell that story after.
We could talk about that. My son got his bicycle stolen at school and college. But
the bike costs what? $60 for the rental for the semester?
He rents it for the semester.
For $60.
For $60. Then it gets stolen. Now, of course, because he didn't lock it, the fool.
It could be yours for $600.
And now they want to charge him $600.
Well, the seat must be like gold plated.
Solid gold.
Genuine Saskatchewan sealskin bindings it's got.
Right. Like it's like from Elon Musk. He's going to shoot you right to the friggin' moon with the bicycle. That's what it is. So anyway, doing good today. Doing good.
Happy Saturday.
There we go.
So, okay. So, hey, everybody have a good Halloween. Everything good?
Yeah. Everything's good.
Right.
Everything's good.
Well, let's see how good the people are out there in the nation. We're going to hear from one in Heated Hotline. Joe.
This one's a write-in from the Heated Hotline. It says, "Hi, guys." Oh, his name's Joe, by the way, so I got to do a different voice.
Hi, guys. Do your own voice, you know?
Joe, okay, let's do my own. Hi, guys. It's Joe from Pawtucket. So who the hell are these morons who say Brissett should start over Maye? Are they watching the same stuff we all are? Yeah, let's go to the same dead cautious QB that doesn't advance this offense. Yes, Maye makes mistakes, but the big plays are worth the bad ones. They're so stupid. Please talk sense into them. Love the show. Put in my own bleep.
There we go.
There you go, Joe. Thanks for the other Joe. Thanks for the thanks for the email. You know, it's a very intellectual email, and then he starts swearing, of course. You know.
Hey, what are you gonna do?
But that's okay because intellectual New England feel. That's the real deal. And there it is. Mark, let's talk about this. And it's a good time to bring up Maye and his performance last week, too.
Yeah.
But I have heard that this week about Maye versus Brissett because Brissett's won the 2 games that they played. One was the Jets game that Maye started. And then Maye is 0 for 3 and, you know, a lot more interceptions. What do you think? You think Brissett should be playing over Maye because of the win-loss record?
Yeah, okay. Listen,
can't even say
Jacoby Brissett stinks. Listen, Chris, unless you want to play, 1994 football, I don't know. I mean, listen, all Jacoby Brissett, Chris, did was, I guess he protected the ball and prayed his defense got him some turnovers in a short field. But okay, I guess he did take you down the field against the Jets in that last drive. But other than that, the Cincinnati game was not sustainable. He didn't do anything in that game. They ran the ball. They played defense. Cincinnati gave him the game. I mean, really, Jacoby Brissett? What are these people even watching or thinking, Chris? Really?
Yeah, I'm with you. Look, we knew that Drake May was going to give you rookie mistakes. I mean, along with the exciting plays come mistakes, and those mistakes are in the form of interceptions. Maybe some poor decisions as far as overthrows, underthrows. And we were going to get that from him, although he's got 4 interceptions. But I will honestly say at least one of them, I think, the tip ball in his first game. I mean, or his second game, I don't put that on him. So to me, he's got 3 real interceptions, in my opinion. And so, no, it's ridiculous. I mean, I want the exciting plays. I want the production from the new quarterback. I want to see him grow, and he has grown, Mark. He has, So to me, Mark,
positively.
Yeah, I mean, so let's take it to the last game then. Let's talk about his performance against Tennessee, because everybody's gaga over this last minute play where he was 11-second play when he tied the game at the end, and I could break that play down too, but he was 29 of 41 for 208, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. And did he run for one? No. So he threw those 2 picks though. What do you see from him right now? How do you think he's progressing?
So, Chris, I think the one thing I'm going to say is I think he's trying to make plays. Okay, he's trying to make plays out of stuff that, and he's a rookie, so he's trying to make plays, I think, Chris, out of things that aren't there. And the comparison everyone is making is, well, he looks like a young Josh Allen. And if you remember, Josh Allen made some bad decisions his first couple of years. He tried to make plays, and in trying to do that, at times perhaps he forced things, and that led to interceptions. So is Drake May doing some of that? Well, kind of. I mean, the ball he threw to Butte, I mean, he underthrew it, but do you really need to force that at that point of the game? In overtime, probably a poor decision, right? Probably shouldn't make that throw. But I do think, Chris, he has vision. He understands when he's going to tuck it, get out of there. I think he can read what he's seeing on the field. I think, you got to realize, Chris, are they really giving him the best personnel packages? And I know you want to talk about this later. I mean, I don't know if they're setting, but I'm not even going to talk about the quality of the receivers. I'm talking about, but are they really setting him up to be successful with the personnel packages and the types of things that they're even putting in for him?
No.
Health.
No, I don't think so.
So I think it's progression, Chris. I think he has shown me more than I thought I would have saw. You and I didn't necessarily know if we'd see him progress this far, this quickly.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you on that, and so to me, no, there's no way you should play into a Brissett. And we heard Greg Bedard talk about this a little bit this week, Joe.
Score 17 points. If Jacoby was in there taking care of the ball, maybe he's better at run checks. Like, would the Patriots not be in the game? I don't know. But largely, I come away from this game wanting to excuse Drake for the turnovers, because I do think he had everything on his back. He's 22. He only played, 2 years of college ball. I think what we've seen, and it's been proven to this point, is that he gets better every time he plays, and he learns more, and he learns from his mistakes. The last interception was tough. Did he need to be that aggressive there? The strip sack fumble, he's just got to learn the timing of the NFL game.
Yeah, and Mark, I wanted to just real quick break some of that down, because let's talk about the first pick, okay? So what I saw, and I went back and looked at this, to put how much blame are we putting on him? To your point, are they putting him in the best position with the offensive line and the wide receivers? Yep. So in that situation, there were two, like the offensive line had like 2-foot splits on that play. Okay, meaning the distance between one lineman to the other the guard and the tackle was like a foot to 2 feet, which is a big wide gap. Okay, this is what I saw, and they ran like a loop where the defensive end and I, ended up coming through that gap, and the offensive line didn't pick it up right. Of course, nobody slid to close that gap, and so he had a guy right in his face, and then he lets the ball go down the middle of the field, and and therefore it's a pick. And that happened, and then it also happened on a sack like that too. So yeah, it's on him. You got to eat that ball. You got to go somewhere else with it. You got to get out quicker. You got to move. You got to do something because you got to recognize when that's happening. Okay, that's on him. The other one, the one in overtime, Kendrick Bourne fell on that. So the way that
the ball went, the Butte, right?
The ball with the Butte
overtime. Yeah,
right. But what ended up happening on that play was they had Bourne on the opposite side as Butte. Okay, Butte was running like a little skinny, go post sort of down the center of the field. I think it was like a skinny post. Okay, and on the opposite side of the field, Kendrick Bourne was running like a corner route. So he was supposed to take the safety that picked off the ball was supposed to go with Kendrick Bourne to the corner. Okay.
Okay.
So what happens is that guy Bourne slips and falls down. Now the safety's sitting there in the middle of the field like at a cover 2 look, and he's sitting there going, all right, I don't have to worry about him now. And his attention turns to the other side of the field, and that's where he started coming across to help out with Butte, who was running that deep post.
So do you think Maye anticipates that the safety is going to go at Bourne and throws it before he realizes Bourne's
I think that's exactly what
Bourne
happened.
Slipped?
Yeah, I think it's exactly what happened. I don't think he saw him coming.
But he did underthrow the ball
and be there. Yes.
But he did underthrow the ball, and he did admit that the next day.
He did. It was a screw up.
Yeah. But
there was no need to do it.
No. But okay, so Bourne slips and that kind of changes the play because
it broke everything broke down at that point.
Yep, he doesn't draw the safety. Okay.
But Brady probably doesn't throw that ball. I mean, guys like that don't throw that ball because they read their screen, they're surveying the field. So I mean, these are
Chris, we're thinking 2 years from now, Maye don't make that throw either.
No, I don't think so. But I will tell you this. Okay, I will say this. His ability, we talk about how he looks, and I know we're over, but this is important. Okay,
yeah,
we talk about how he looks with the play action stuff, and what I'm seeing, okay, is under center he's improved quite a bit. Okay, so when you talk about footwork, we got to work on footwork. You hear everybody talking about this. What the hell do we mean? Nobody ever tells us what does that actually mean. Okay, here's what it means. He's under center, and his play action has been so much better lately. So when he gets on the center and he's starting to come back and he's putting that ball in the running back's gut, or he's putting his empty hand there for a play action pass, a quarterback, once they do that, needs to flip their hips around so they can see the field. Okay, quickly see the field. He wasn't getting that done early in the summer. He wasn't able to get himself back around and so he could survey the field. He's doing that now. And so you see those, those plays he was running, those kind of, those missile screens out to the left or right where he hits the wide receiver on a screen that steps back. That's on a play action where he's got to be able to see that quickly. So just as an example, he's gotten better. That's one of the things he's gotten better at with his foot. He's good in the gun, but with that, that was a good job. That's easy. I think he's done a good job so far, and he's got a lot to improve. So no.
Let me ask this question though. As far as the last interception, all the interceptions he's thrown thus far, every single person has given him a pass, right? Is it
not on all of them? But yeah,
but the majority. But the question is like, do you think it's because of you're seeing differences like the footwork changing, or is it because of, let's say, the staff not giving him the right place that he's getting the pass?
What do you think, Mark?
No, I think it's a combination of things, Chris. I mean, we're going to get into the staff and what they're doing a little bit later. I know you got a couple of plays you want to break down because it's just a poor scheme that's being run and the player personnel packages that are on the field. But yeah. Joe, I think you're onto something there, Joe. But I think it's part of it. It is part of it. I mean, it's not. Yeah. It's I'm not going to recuse him of any blame either. But that is a part of it, Joe.
Yeah. Yeah, good point, Joe. So listen, the other Joe who emailed in, we appreciate that. It got us talking about Drake Maye, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about the offense. But Heated Hotline was presented by CORSO Law Group, CORSOLawGroup.com. When we come back, going to go back in the week. Weekly Rewind is next.
No one ever thinks they will be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. Whether it's a traffic ticket or more serious issue, talk with these expert attorneys. CORSOLawGroup.com.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. All right, let's go back in the week. Weekly Rewind.
Going back through the week. About a weekly rewind.
20-17 loss to the Tennessee Titans in Tennessee, and that was in overtime. We were just talking about Drake Maye and his contribution to the win and to the good and the bad points of that. And so we want to go into the offensive room and break this thing down as to what we saw. And I'll start with this, Mark, and then you can, get into it. 4 turnovers. Should we start with that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, 4 turnovers. So you got what? 3 from Drake Maye?
Yeah, the strip sack and the 2 interceptions. You had 3. Yeah.
Right. So let's start with the wide receivers. Okay? Because they're just so bad at this point. I don't know where to begin on this, but first of all, you got penalties. You got Bourne had 1 penalty. Polk, I think, had 2 or 3. All he did was the only thing Polk contributed to was with penalties. So why is this happening? I mean, are they just not on the field enough where there's only 2 usually and then 2 tight ends? Why are we seeing such poor performances and drop balls, penalties, and everything else with this group?
I don't. Something, Chris, is going on in that wide receiver room, and I don't know what it is, but something's not right there, Chris. The mistakes, the lack of attention to detail, the bad route running, the dropping of balls, like you mentioned, penalties. Something's going on, Chris, in that room, and I don't know what it is, but how can it be that one position group is functioning that badly? It's not like Jalen Polk, Chris. One of the things, and we mentioned this on the show a couple of weeks ago, one of the things with Jalen Polk was he was a high character guy coming out of college, and he got praised for that. And they said, you're getting a kid that's going to be like an ultimate professional, and he knows how to handle himself. And then we heard he's got great hands, he's got a great catch radius, and he'll go get the ball for the receiver, for the quarterback. And everything we've seen of him has been the opposite, including the catch radius, the hands, So what is it? Is it the organization? Is it the culture that's been developed by Mayo? Like, why is that? Like, listen, I'm just using him as an example. Bourne has shown really nothing since he's come back. Douglas gives you, I don't know, bits and pieces of something. He hasn't been consistent, Douglas. Booty gives you 1 catch a game. Basically, it's 1 catch a game. He gives you something. He shows you a flash for 1 catch.
Yeah.
Osborne is I don't know what he's giving you nothing.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to talk about Thornton. So obviously the room is lacking some talent based on what all the people I've just named. Baker can't.
Well, we don't know.
Himself, we don't know. I still think he's got potential, but we don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know,
listen,
Chris. What is wrong with that room?
the bar has been set. The problem that we have is you're talking about 6th round, 3rd round, okay, even Polk's 2nd round pick. I get it, but he was still number 3 on that team, probably 2 to 3 on the Washington Huskies.
The Washington Huskies, he was 2-3, yeah. 2 or 3, yeah.
So I mean, you're not.
I think maybe 2.
We're expecting a lot out of these guys that you probably they're not that good. They're just not that good, and that's why they went where they went in the draft. All of them. Douglas. The one thing I'll say about Douglas is the problem with him is he's a slot receiver, and you don't really use it. The offense they run doesn't really utilize the slot. If this were McDaniel's offense, he would have like 80 catches. Like they would be able to utilize him a lot in this, and Brady would have done a good job getting him matched up on linebackers and bigger safeties, and he would have run away from them off the line. So that's why Welker was good. That's why Edelman was good. This is the kind. So in this offense, though, you get two receivers on the field often, most times, and both of them are kind of split out wide, X and Y, or X and how will they label them. And that's probably why Douglas is the issue. But damn, I just want to find a few guys that can run clean routes, crisp routes, catch balls, don't drop, don't commit penalties. I mean, I don't think it's a lot to ask, Mark, with these guys. So we'll see how this is going to go. But it's a combination.
Just mentioned two tight ends and 2 receivers on the field. We're going to get to that shortly too. That's a whole nother issue.
Oh, yeah, because when we talk about coaching, I got a couple of plays here that illustrate what the hell, why that's an issue. Let's go to the offensive line, okay?
Can I ask you a question with the line?
Yeah.
Why did they change the lineup again? When they don't, it seemed like they were getting a little bit of consistency. It seemed like they were playing better, and then you went and flipped personnel again. Why?
Well, it's funny you should mention that. We got a clip from Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal who mentions that, Joe.
Okay, well, let's start with the rocket science decision after they had 2 weeks of continuity on the offensive line. And all I heard was whining from the coaches and a bunch of other people about how, we can't expect much. They don't have any continuity on the offensive line. They finally have a chance to do that, and they decide, nope, we are going to change things again. And not only are we going to kick Michael Winning out to right tackle, but we are going to put Layden Robinson, who is a rookie, who at times has been promising. It's been a while. He hasn't played a whole lot. He got hurt. He struggled when he came back. He went to the bench. These geniuses decided we're going to go up against Jeffrey Simmons, who is now that Aaron Donald's gone, he might be the best defensive tackle in the league. That not only are we going to put a rookie in Layden Robinson out there against him, we're also not going to give him any help. We're also not going to give him any help. We are not going to have a plan for Jeffrey Simmons.
Wow.
We are just going to let him go one-on-one against a rookie, and he's going to completely wreck the offense in the first half, which was a bunch of hot garbage. It was horrible, the offense in the first half, and it wasn't Drake May's fault. They say the battle is lost before it's fought. For Mayo to sit there and listen to this and hear the plan and say and approve it is just it's just a dereliction of duty on multiple levels.
Yeah. Wow.
He's Greg Bedard of the Boston Sports Journal. We heard him in 2 clips so far. Look, he's right, Mark. It's just what you started to mention. I understand there's a rookie. You want to see what you got in Robinson. But what the hell? Winner was fine there. Jacobs was fine over at the right tackle. What I mean, Jordan had a bad day too. But what I told you about those 2-foot splits, there you go. They left these guys on the guard, who just got. I mean, who got rolled over? Mark. They had what was it? 9 quarterback hits, 4 sacks, and they didn't give him help. There was no chipping. I didn't see any doubles. Okay. I thought the running backs had a horrible day. Stevenson had too.
Well, Drake outrushed the entire backfield.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
Drake May rushed for 98 yards. Listen, they had, all I could tell you is this. I had 316 yards of total offense. Drake May had his hands on the ball for 301 of those. He rushed for 98 yards. The rest of the running back room rushed for 15. 15. They average 1.6 yards per carry.
So is that on the offensive line?
Both, because I saw plays where Stevenson should have cut up into a hole where there was one, and he's bouncing it. He looked like he had no idea where he was going with the ball, no vision at all in this game. To say nothing about pass protection with the backs.
Yeah.
It's a mess. It was a mess.
So, Chris, but Greg Bedard brings up an interesting point, though. He says that to make that switch, obviously Mayo has to sign off on that and say, okay, let's. So he says it's basically a dereliction of duties. The fact that he would actually sign off on something like that. So Mayo is going to start. Listen, as this progresses and if it continuously gets worse, Chris, Mayo's going to find himself in on the hot seat. I mean, I don't think they'll get rid of him, but Chris, he looks really bad. Like, you know what I mean?
It is bad.
It is bad.
I mean, it is bad. And when the next segment, when we talk coaching, we're going to get to some of the specifics of how bad it is. But you're right, Mark. He does have veto power on anything, and he's not using it because you know why? It's too fast. The game is too fast. They're a step behind on everything.
Yeah.
From December to now, they're behind. They can't catch up. And so these things are happening in the game and nothing's being done. So, okay, fine. You bench Robinson. I think they pulled him out of the game.
Yeah.
It didn't improve much.
No.
Like you said, they're not giving him any help. They're not. So offensively, it is a mess. They're not doing enough to help Drake May. He's got his own mistakes, but I'll accept those mistakes. I will accept those mistakes, Joe, because you got so much upside with this kid. You got to see what you have. But there's no reason for these other guys to be playing like this. That's ridiculous. And then on the defensive side, Mark, okay, everybody is so focused on the offense. Let's talk about the defense for a second, okay? What was your impression of allowing 400 yards? I get it was an overtime too, but
Chris,
you allowed
Tennessee,
400 yards
listen,
again to a
Tennessee.
lousy
I was just
team.
going to say to you, Tennessee's a bad team. If anybody watched that game Sunday, Tennessee is a bad football team, and you allowed all those yards. And I'm going to say this, and I know he's good. He's okay. He's in the upper tier of corners in the league. I get it. He's still a second-year player. He still has room to grow, and I think he can possibly become even better. And I'm talking about Gonzalez, right? But this is 2 weeks in a row, Chris. He's given up some plays. I mean, you and I both agree. Ridley's really not a one. He's getting paid like one.
Yeah.
But Gonzalez had so at times, Chris, he was turned the wrong way. He spun him around. You know, and last week he struggled. He didn't do bad against that. That was Marcus Jones Jr. He didn't do bad against the Jets. But in the Jacksonville game, Brian Thomas Jr., the 2 or 3 times he had to get on him, took him to school. So you know, the defense, Chris, come on. You allowed all those yards. They couldn't stop the run. Again, they gassed them. When they got the ball coming out of overtime, Chris, the only reason you didn't lose that game with a touchdown out of overtime was because there was a poor snap at the 4-yard line. Otherwise, Chris, they would have drove right down the field running the ball. They took Jacksonville's playbook in overtime and just kept gashing you and gashing you and gashing you. Jesus, Chicago might have over 250 yards rushing this week, and you still can't set the edge, Chris.
And I'm not saying that he's not a good back, Pollard, but is he a 28 carry, 128 yards at 4.6 a carry? They allowed 167 yards rushing they allowed in this game, 4.3 a carry, and 400 yards total offense. Look,
400 yards to that team, Chris.
Tennessee was 1-6 coming in. I mean, this is not the San Fran team, you know? I mean, this is not the Kansas City Chiefs they're playing. I mean, for Christ almighty, you can't allow 400 yards of offense.
It didn't equate necessarily to points, but still.
No, I get it, but like if the ball, look, they had 38 minutes to 29 for the Patriots, but for a while it was close. And you can't say, well, the Patriots won't do anything on offense, therefore that's why the time of possessions. No, it's not. The time of possession is that way because you allowed a team to run for 167 yards. That's why they had the ball for a long time with the clock moving. You know, you didn't do what we said to do last week and shorten the game and run the ball yourself.
And listen,
Okay?
there's no Bondmore. And that's really what they're kind of using as an excuse, Chris. Well, two guys that anchored the middle of our defense last year again on a both out. Okay, all right, but maybe, but still.
They blitzed Rudolph too much. There were too many run blitzes. Tennessee was 29th, okay, passing. Run 26th. They had 400 yards of total offense. Okay. They didn't run a 5, and I guess we could talk about this with Covington, but no 5-man front with a bear. Okay, where you could get the run stopped. Okay. They didn't force Rudolph to beat them. The middle of the field is so bad. Tavai, Ellis, Taki, McMillan, Raekwon McMillan. Awful in the center of the field, and it's been a problem the whole time. Okay, Mapu was blowing tackles all over the field. He was missing tackles everywhere, and I know how you feel about Mapu.
Yeah,
that's the defense. That's what you have. There it is. I mean, and there's no. I'm over here. I gotta put the Rothsteins on because
put the Rothsteins on. Get the Rothsteins
there
on.
we go.
I mean, Tavai covers the wrong guy. Okay, and that's he had a pick. I can't, Mark. I can't. You know,
he had a pick on the tip, right?
Yeah, he had a pick on the tip. Big deal. Okay, but in the Y sack, okay, the Dietrich Y sack, that's more on Rudolph. Rudolph dropped back the pass and stayed there instead of stepping up in the pocket and Wise got behind the damn quarterback. That's not. These are things that are happening that look good, but they're not.
Chris, I'm glad you said Wise. You meant not Wise. I'm sorry. I'm glad you mentioned Rudolph. And that was the quarterback in the game for the Tennessee Titans. Chris,
and you have to say that because he sucks so bad that nobody knows who he is.
Chris, Mitch Trubisky started for Pittsburgh last year, 2 or 3 games when the quarterback got hurt over Rudolph. That's how bad he is.
Yeah. Yep. So again, it's just getting worse and worse, and no adjustments are being made. No adjustments being made. Covington's
well, that's the thing, Chris. How have you not adjusted to teams just gashing you on a weekly basis with the run? There's nothing Covington can do.
No, there are things you can do. When Bill was here, that's what he would do. Okay, we're going to run 5-man front. We're going to run bear. We're going to put somebody in gaps. We're going to stop this from happening. This is not going to happen. For them to beat us, they're going to have to do this. Because, you don't have Bondmore. I get it. You don't have Bondmore. You don't have Judon. I got it. That's not enough to say, Bentley's not there. Tavai's playing on. They're giving Tavai a pass. He had a good couple of seasons on the edge, and now he's playing out of position. That's horse. That's horse. Okay, that's it. So the defense is a problem. It continues to be a problem, and it's going to be a huge problem.
Chris, Tavai, you were screaming during the game that Tavai's nothing but a special teams player. And he's playing on defense. He's a special teamer.
Every middle linebacker they have is a special teamer. But we got to get to the coaching on the other side because that has to happen. So this portion of Weekly Rewind was presented by the Pats Nation, Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. Hey, it's the first pregame show for the Patriots. It's on the same station the Patriots are on. So just get up a little earlier, tune in, and you're going to hear our analysis, our breakdown, keys to victory for tomorrow's Bears game. So make sure you're tuning in. But we come back, going to continue on Weekly Rewind. No flipping.
Sundays are for football. And here in New England, that means it's the Pats Nation with Corso and Catone.
You have the worst wide receiver room in the National Football League.
This is why the Patriots need us in the draft room. Let's see what the Pats Nation thinks about that, Mark.
Starting June 30th, Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m. on 790 The Score.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. All right, Mark, let's continue on. Let's talk coaching. I went over enough with Covington. Okay, period. He's not making enough adjustments. The personnel's wrong. They don't have that guy, like you said. the guy that can plug it up and say, hey, this is what we need to do this week if we want to win. They don't have it. You were right
They don't have
with
it.
Belichick left. Let's talk about Mayo. Okay? Let's talk about Mayo. He's still having, forget the press conference stuff for a minute. On the field, he's still having these in-game issues and game management. We got an end of half issue again. Okay? He uses a timeout on a punt return that they could have used at the end. And I know they tied it. I get it. Okay, at the end of the game. But he could have used that timeout. He's using it on a punt return. In the second half,
Yeah, I didn't understand that, Chris.
he didn't go for 2. Okay? Where reading the pulse of that team, maybe he should have. Okay? The team is gassed. This is something nobody's talking about. They are gassed, Mark, in the fourth quarter. The defense can't get off the field. They're allowing all those rushing yards, hands on hips. I think isn't his brother or brother-in-law the conditioning coach? Didn't he make him that?
Yeah, he did. Somehow he's related to Mayo.
So for all that nonsense about Belichick and the nepotism and all that other stuff, but meanwhile, this team isn't conditioned enough. Mark, what's the story with this guy?
Chris, and then
I think he's going to go. So, I mean, that's me.
Listen, he's not going anywhere. They're not going to get rid of him. So listen, we'll put it this way. If they don't win another game the rest of the season, you end up with 2 wins. So you end up 2-15. There has to be some scapegoat. You can't bring the entire team back, coaching staff-wise.
Right.
So what is it? Is Covington going to be the casualty? Covington was Mayo's guy. That was his pick. So I don't think it'll be Covington. Who's it going to be? Van Pelt? Are they going to listen? They are not going to sign Mayo and get rid of him after a year. They'll give him 2 years. Next year, you're probably going to cut ties with him if there isn't a much better win total and significant improvement. But for this year, Chris, who's going to be the scapegoat? It's going to be Van Pelt. I think Elliott Wolf and Groh should be gone. You need to revamp that department. But they're not going to spend that kind of money. That whole personnel department, Chris, needs to be revamped, retooled. Shoot. Me and you will do it. They just got to pick the damn phone up or give us, give us a weekly, give us something and we'll be fine. All they got to do is show up. Let us show up. We'll do it. We'll do it for free.
Message to the Kraft family.
Wow.
Message to the Kraft family. I'll put the Rothsteins on. I'll show up in the building. We'll give you the first draft for free. We'll give it to you for free. We won't even charge you to let us take care of the personnel on this team. Okay? And if at that point you think we're worth something, we'll come back again. And now you can pay. Now they can pay, Joe.
That's going to be double.
Mark.
We should start a CORSO CATONE petition.
But listen, Mark.
Chris, it's just I don't know.
But specifically Mayo. I mean, you made him. He's the head coach. So when you say, well, he's not in charge of anything. He doesn't have say in this. He doesn't say. Look, you're the head coach. You have the title, so you can do what you want to do. And if they don't like what you do, they can fire you. Okay. He's not doing it because he doesn't understand it. It's away from him. It's too fast. He can't do these things in game.
Chris, what did they do at the end of the first half? Again, same thing they always do.
Right. They wet themselves.
The first half, yeah.
They pissed on their leg every single time at the end. Mark, there's another 8 penalties. Another 8 penalties today. And the only reason why the score isn't different is because the other team had 10. They had 10.
The other team had 10, and the other team technically is probably just as bad, or if not worse than you, but yet they still gassed you for 400 yards, total offense, over 400, and they beat you.
Okay.
So,
Okay, we got to talk about Alex Van Pelt, and I don't want to let the front office off the hook. I don't want to cut into Catone's comments too much, but we got to talk about the front office a little bit too.
Oh no, we have to. We have to.
You wanted to point out a couple of plays. Talk about Alex Van Pelt and his responsibility here in all this mess.
Chris, so here's a guy, Maye, who for all intents and purposes didn't have a lot of experience, obviously, with a pro-style offense in college. And you mentioned that coming out, Chris. You said, he's going to have to learn because of what he's coming from. Okay, but the system he came from was spread out, 4 wide receivers. He was in a shotgun. you have Douglas, Bourne, Butte. You could choose between Polk and Osborne, but you can go 4 wide, Chris. They choose not to. They do go 4 wide sometimes.
They
but
do.
But tight ends.
Yeah. Doesn't look like 12 personnel.
Explain that to me, Chris, why they're doing that. Because you said, Mark, if you're going to do it, then keep somebody in. Maybe they can chip something. They're not even utilizing the tight ends to help, and your offensive line stinks. Explain to me what they're doing with 2 tight ends on that field, please.
I listen. It's technically 10 personnel, which means 1 running back, no tight ends. Technically, because they're split out wide, but to me, it's 12 because you're taking Hunter Henry, which I can give you on a 10 personnel. You got him in the slot, fine,
all right,
and then you got 3 other receivers. But there are times where Hooper's out there with them. Mark, they ran a screen, okay. They ran a wide receiver screen with 2 tight ends and that's fine. That's fine. But neither one of them blocks anybody to first the flash. They don't even block anybody. So what the hell are you doing on the field if not for that? Trips, okay? They ran a play, Mark, okay? And they ran, it was 10 personnel, 4 wide receivers on the field, except one of them was a tight end. So you get 3 wide receivers on the trip side, on the 3 receiver side, and you got 1 receiver on the other side, and that receiver happens to be the tight end. Okay? So what ends up happening, okay, 3 by 1, tight end, and those tight ends on the boundary side. The boundary side's the short side, the non-trip side. So they run him basically in kind of in the slot, but wide out. So what does Tennessee do? They roll their coverage to the trip side of the field and focus on those 3 receivers, and they run one-on-one with Hunter Henry. Okay, one-on-one would happen to be a corner or a safety. That's because that's who's naturally out there.
I think it was a safety, Chris.
Yeah, number 44. Okay,
he was a safety.
Right. And so he runs this go pattern down the sideline. Drake May throws him a great ball, but he can't come down with that. Why? He can't fight for that ball. He can't get out of phase and press to the inside and then open up gap. He can't do any of that because he's a goddamn tight end. He's a friggin' tight end. He shouldn't be doing that from out there. It should be a wide receiver that's singled up one-on-one. Am I stupid?
Well, Chris, first of all through training camp, that route that you just described was run by Baker, and him and Baker had a connection. Right. I get Baker. Whatever happened with Baker, getting a doghouse. I don't know what happened to him. I don't care what happened to him. I don't care. Put him on the goddamn field. Who cares what happened to him?
Right.
I mean, these other teams, right? Because he put that tweet up about the police officer. Okay, it was inappropriate. He shouldn't have did it. Bring him in, ream him out. You want to give him a fine? Do whatever you got to do. But then put him back on the field. All these other teams do it. And let me ask you this. Let me ask you this one other question. So now, Drake May is gashing them because they're leaving the middle of the field open.
Yeah.
When he gets most of his rushing yards. Well, now Tennessee makes an adjustment to stop that from happening.
Right.
With their play, with how they set up their personnel.
Yeah.
Did the Patriots ever make any adjustments?
Nope. No, they kept him in the pocket. They closed those throwing lanes.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. Run a bubble. Run a friggin' bubble.
All right, there you go.
Because now they're pressing the pocket closed on them. They're all interior. They're all
Chris Van Pelt.
Take your running back out of the backfield and throw a little bubble to him. He'll run forever.
Chris Van Pelt doesn't even attempt it. He's an NFL offensive coordinator. How does he not know what you're saying?
I wouldn't let him coordinate trying to figure out renting the bicycle up at my son's college.
We'll be hearing about this bicycle. The poor kids trying to do the right thing over here.
I wouldn't let him coordinate dinner. Never mind a friggin' offense. Mom.
Let me ask you this question before you get off Van Pelt.
But we're killing Catone's comments right now. We don't have to take
That's all right. What are you going to do?
Before you get off Van Pelt, but by this point, is it enough time and enough games to tell whether or not it was Brissett making his decisions, Van Pelt by all of this time, or May? At any given point, who's making the decisions, the wrong decisions? Is it mainly Van Pelt
Yes.
and not either one of them?
Yep. Yeah. And Brissett enabled it by playing the style that he played. And now Drake Maye is exposing it.
Exposing,
Well, yeah,
right?
because you can't play that style with Maye on the field. You can't do what you did with Brissett, Joe.
Right.
So you're right. The fact that the play calling and the personnel packages is so bad gets exposed because of what you have to try to run with Maye for him to be successful.
Have they made a good decision, Mark, the front office, since Bill left?
Yeah, they signed KJ Osborne to a cheap deal.
They haven't
You
made
know,
one
Chris-
good decision, not one.
Chris, nobody wanted any of our guys. Thornton, Osborne, they're going to move them at the trade deadline. Who the hell wants those guys? Nobody wanted those guys.
Mark, they draft Drake Maye, 27th out of 40 Pro Football Focus. Polk, 130 out of 130. Caden Walsh had one start. Robinson, 68 out of 77. Okay,
But I heard
position.
you mentioned Maye, but Maye will be okay. Chris.
Yeah, I
I'm
understand.
okay with Maye. But listen,
Javon Baker, 4
Oh,
games,
wait,
0
Chris.
catches. Hang
Chris-
on. Dial, 4 tackles. Joe Milton, forget it. This is what you got. That's your draft class. They suck.
But Chris, listen, and you didn't even draft Drake Maye. He dropped in your lap. You had to draft a quarterback.
You had to draft.
You didn't have to make a decision, really, because he fell in your lap. He clearly was better than the other guys that went behind him, according to, what we thought and looked at on tape. It wasn't like you were making the decision between him and Jaden Daniels, which one do you pick, and you picked the right one. You had to take him at 3. He was the consensus third quarterback on the board. So you really didn't have, that really was like a no-brainer. You had to take him.
Yeah. They got to go. Elliott Wolf, Groh, Van Pelt, Mayo, Jonathan Kraft.
Listen,
They gotta go, all of them.
If they had me in the draft room last year, I would have taken Jackson Smith Najima instead of Gonzalez. He had 200 yards and 2 touchdowns last week with DK Metcalf on the bench because he was injured.
And there it is. Personnel department sucks. Mark needs to be hired, and then we go back to the
Chris,
Super
let me ask
Bowl.
you this before we move on. Gonzalez gonna be is corner, solid corner. He's probably gonna be he's gonna be an all-pro corner, we think. He probably this year maybe he'll be an all-pro corner. But Chris, does he push the needle more than a number 1 receiver would have?
No. We never thought that would be the case. You're not going to win a Super Bowl because of the damn corner. It isn't going to happen. Not in this day and age. Not in this day and age. So, a lot of problems on this team, and it starts with the top, the tippity top, and the cheap guys up there. So, that's all I got, Mark. Weekly Rewind was presented by Corso Law Group, corsolawgroup.com. Hey, we ate into his time quite a bit, but Catone's comments is next. Stick around.
No one ever thinks they'll be in need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. Whether it's a traffic ticket or more serious issue, go to corsolawgroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys.
Time for Catone
So last weekend, Chris calls me and says, "Where the heck are you?" I said, "I'm at a store." He said, "No, you're not." I said, "Yeah, I am. I'm at a store." But what I didn't tell him was I was with my wife. She didn't send me by myself. So the store's going to remain nameless because Joe will yell at me. We got sponsors. I can't name the stores. But listen, so we're in the store. She wanted to buy it's like a piece of furniture that it's an add-on to something in one of the rooms in the house. But of course, it's got to be put together because it's that type of a store. It's not, I'm not ordering it from I'm not getting it from a real furniture store. Okay. And listen, those of you who have listened to me before, that drives me out of my mind. Out of my mind that you're going to bring this stuff home. Now, you're going to try to put it together. Okay, fine. Listen, I can work on this for 40 days and 40 nights and the thing still won't come out correct. 40 days and 40 nights I could work on this and it won't come out correct. And she'll tell me to take it back. But she insists I got to buy it. Okay. I bring it home. They got the directions. The directions are in every language but English. I got to call the United Nations to figure out how to interpret the directions to this thing because they're in all different languages but English. And so what do you want me to do with the paper? Well, I got to, it's like I'm reading calligraphy. Now I got to look at the pictures to figure out how to put this thing together by pictures. And my favorite tool, they give you the L. They're going to give you the L again now, the L. The Allen wrench. They come with the Allen wrench. They give you a bag with 150 pieces, screws, washers, drop this, that. I don't know what they give you in this bag. Do you know, I got so frustrated. I tried to take the Allen wrench, and I tried to put it in a vise and straighten the L out. So if I straighten the L out, I can then put it in my drill, my screw drill, and I tried it, and the thing's going all over the place and shaking. It didn't work, but I did try it. I tried it because I'm so sick of these Allen wrenches. Needless to say, 2 days later, it got boxed up, and I went back. Listen. Point of the story is, and I don't mean to criticize any of these stores. Maybe you're a handyman. Maybe you can put these things together. I can't do it. My wife, she's holding the thing, and I'm doing the Allen wrench, and she's holding the thing in place, and she says, "Are you finished yet? Like I can't hold this anymore. My hands, they hurt." I said, "Your hands?" I said, "My thumb's full of blood from screwing this thing in." I said, "Well, what do you want from me?" Right? Point of the story, go to a real furniture store, buy it, have it delivered nice. It's put together. I don't care. Whatever you're going to pay, it's worth it. I don't care. Chris paid $600 to return for the replacement bike for the bike. Listen, just pay the money, but don't go to those stores and bring home anything you're going to do with don't put anything together. Please don't. Or please don't ask me to do it. That's the worst thing you could do.
You're such a. Is your last name Kraft?
What? It wasn't me. It was my wife.
Why don't you buy it from the store like you just suggested?
Oh, I do. Oh, listen. That was her. She snowed. It has nothing to do with price. She liked the way it looked. This, that. Listen, I don't know what I get involved with her.
There's a video that I have from what is it, like a year and a half ago, something like that.
Oh yeah. My wife took it.
She sends me a text with the video of this kid, Joe. Okay,
it was outside furniture.
Fix your camera. You push your camera all over the place.
The way it is.
It was outside furniture for the deck. She made
me.
She made me do it.
But the video, Joe. Okay. Is of this clown with the Allen wrench in his hand. He's got that little L in his hand, that little tiny little stupid thing in his hand. Okay. He's got that thing in his hand and he's walking around spitting, drooling on himself, yelling, screaming things I wouldn't even say on this show at all without a huge disclaimer. Okay.
Why?
This was like 2 years ago.
Voice. I don't understand why that is the tool to put together every piece of furniture. Everything.
Chris, you weren't listening to the whole story though. Then they give you the directions. They're in every language but English. Yeah. I got to call the United Nations to figure out how to put this thing together.
Just be lucky you didn't have to. Some of them now just come with the that code. What is it? QR code, Joe?
Yeah, you got to scan it.
You got to scan it, and then you got to put it on your phone. Now you got to pull the Rothsteins out. And you got to read it from the phone. Oh, yeah. And by the way, go to Home Depot or one of these joints, and why don't you go get a piece for the Allen wrench set for your drill, so you don't have to worry about this anymore.
No, they don't work.
Oh, they don't work.
No, because there's like a slight, ever so minuscule difference of the size difference. Trust me, I tried that one.
I got them. I got off the south side. I'll send you a picture of what I got you guys.
Joe, he's got two fools. I couldn't get one that worked either.
Yeah, no.
Mark, I don't blame you. I don't blame you one bit. That's why I don't buy anything, put anything together. I don't want to hear about it. What we have, we have. That's it. So keep it nice. Keep it nice. Good stuff, Mark. Stay out of the goddamn stores, Mark. Catone's comments was presented by the Pats Nation, Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. First pregame show for the Patriots game tomorrow on that same station, 790 The Score. So make sure you're tuning in. We'll have a breakdown of the Bears game. But hey, when we come back, going to talk B's and C's. It's really C's and maybe a second of PC. Stick around.
Sundays are for football. And here in New England, that means it's the Pats Nation with Corso and Catone.
You have the worst wide receiver room in the National Football League.
This is why the Patriots need us in the draft room. Let's see what the Pats Nation thinks about that, Mark.
Starting June 30th, Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m. on 790 The Score.
Back in with more Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. All right, B's and C's. Joe, let's have it.
Hit it! Has offered the Boston Celtics are the world champions, and they have shown the world how great a ball club they really are. Screen shot,
Okay, Mark, let's talk about Celtics, okay?
Yep.
They played it's Thursday now. So they played Golden State last night. They lose the game. Okay. Tatum, everybody was waiting for this game to stick it up Kerr's ass because he screwed him over this summer with the Olympics. He didn't play him much. Tatum was pissed off about it. So everybody thought Tatum's going to show up and he's going to put the screws to Kerr. Didn't really work out. I mean, he scored 32 points. But didn't work out that way. It wasn't really that killer instinct, all that. And before the game, Steve Kerr had this to say.
Walks in, and the very first question he got was, do you regret not playing Jason Tatum in the Olympics? Here's part of his answer.
I don't give it a whole lot of thought other than, I didn't enjoy, not playing Jason against Serbia, not playing Joel against South Sudan. Those are not fun decisions, but our guys were all amazing. They committed to each other. They committed to winning the gold medal. They brought the gold home for their country. They all handled themselves with incredible dignity and class, and that's the real story. I don't think anybody actually cared enough about me to boo me, so we'll see how it goes tonight. Yeah. But I'm sure also a lot of Celtics fans are going to cheer me for being part of Team USA, winning a gold medal for the country. I'm a patriotic American. I love my country. 3 Celtics on the team who won a world championship and 2 months later won a gold medal. Pretty incredible stuff. So, people can write about whatever they want to write about.
Yeah, listen, you know what, Mark? This is I can't stand him. Oh my God, I can't stand Kerr. This is basically him saying, Jason, shut up and just take the fact that you won a gold medal. It's not about you. That's basically what he said in all of that.
He did.
He's
absolutely
I can't
did.
stand him.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what, Chris? Why they know how to beat the Celtics, don't they? Though that damn team, and they're not the same team they were when they won the championship by no means. But they still know how to come in here and play us.
Listen, that's a possible matchup in the finals because they can shoot the 3-pointer right along with Boston. They can shoot the 3. And the way they played defense last night and blitz Tatum, the way they did, double him. Now, Brown, Porzingis.
Well, that, and I was just going to say that'll make the difference. Those two guys.
Is Tatum ever going to have the killer instinct that you want him to have against?
Probably not. Probably not, Chris. But last, they won a championship. And he didn't have it, so probably not. And he probably doesn't have to. The way this team is currently constructed, they're probably going to repeat, and he doesn't have to have that, Chris.
He's a higher road guy. That's it. I can't stand Steve Kerr. That's why I wanted to play it. I can't stand him. He's such a jerk. Mark, give us a little bit on PC for with the.
So the season started. They played their first game the other night at home against Central Connecticut State. It was a struggle. Central Connecticut State is like a D2 team. It was a struggle, or maybe they're low D1. It was a struggle. We beat them. We haven't had a full slate of guys to practice, so it's been a struggle. But we got like eight new guys, Chris, and pretty much a brand new starting lineup except for Pierre. So Jaden Pierre, I think they have potential, Chris. They're going to be something to watch all winter. I think we make the NCAA tournament this year. Bryce Hopkins will be back healthy, but as the year goes on, we're going to talk more about them. But NCAA tournament this year for PC, I'm predicting it.
Well, you heard it here first from our PC Friar alumnus and expert. But hey, Corso and Catone, we got to go, Mark. That's it. We had a lot to talk about today. Corso and Catone was presented by the Pats Nation, Sundays, 8 a.m. Eastern. We're going to preview the Bears game tomorrow. Come back noon Eastern next week for Corso and Catone. We got so much to get to, as you can see, and we're going to do that next Saturday. But we are Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. See you next week.
Now find Corso and Catone on AM 790, The Score, iHeartRadio, iTunes, wherever you podcast. Or subscribe to the YouTube channel and catch the chaos every Saturday at noon.